Good morning, Dr. Webb. This article we went over the four C's to success in a classroom, and it shows how all these four are important and necessary things for your classroom in order for everything to gel and everything to work out well. The first thing is commendation. This would be things such as praise for the students and trying to connect with the students through praise. A way to do this would be like addressing the students by name and making sure they know that they're the ones that are being successful at what they want to do. Praise can also help influence the students to make them continue doing what they're doing successfully, and they will attempt to do more of it instead of doing something wrong. Or if they, for example, if a student is doing something wrong and then you have them correct it over it, you can then compliment them and say they're doing a good job and they're doing better at that thing. And then they will both feel better about how they were doing it, and then they'll know that they're doing things properly. When doing this, you should always address the students by their names. This will help them feel more of a personal connection with the teacher. And then also, this can be done as a form of almost classroom management. So say you have all of your students, you want them to sit a certain way, right? And only one or two of them is doing that. You can specifically compliment them and point them out and saying that they're doing a very good job at sitting or doing the task you'd like them to do. And then the students oftentimes will then follow what you said and complimenting them, then because they'll also want to get that praise as well. And they'll see that as a positive compliment for them as well. So then also, like, say you're playing a piece and the students are they play really well, right? And there's a specific thing you want to compliment them on. You should always try and be specific with your compliments instead of doing a more general thing like, hey, that's a good job. Instead, you should be, hey, you did really good with your rhythm there, or your intonation sounded really good there. The next C is communication skills. Communication is a really important aspect of classroom management. You always want to be clear with your students, and you want them to know where you're coming from and what you are asking of them, because the students sometimes might even be trying to do the proper thing, but instead of that, it's harder for them to understand, or they don't exactly know what they're doing. Or if a student is doing something wrong, then they might not even be aware of it because the communication is lacking or something on this aspect. And this communication is the best way to help enrich student relationships with the teacher. But also communicating with the parents also important, because oftentimes the parents will try to do what they can to help with their student or with their child to help them and then also help you in the classroom. The next C is going to be consistency. You really want your students to have a consistent schedule. The consistency will help the students out. It'll help them know. This will also have them have expectations for what to do in class. Like, for example, if you have like a daily routine, if you have your students put out all their instruments, get ready, set up at a certain time, and then play, and then they know after a certain, like, for a minute or two, your warm-up start after they get their instruments out. Or if you have even consistent, like, if they have general basis, like a warm-up and then new rep or practicing that rep or things like that. Or even consistency to, like, rules, having certain rules in the classroom. You want to be consistent with those rules. You don't want to start making up rules or like giving leeway to different students for certain rules, because this will then almost diminish your rules if they aren't consistent with each other. And then finally, the last C is content, because the real goal is to make music in the classroom. You want to have your content be enriching towards the students and have them engage, because the main goal is to make music, and this includes limiting downtime. You shouldn't have much downtime where the students aren't playing or doing something musically active. This includes having the teacher talk for too long of periods of time, where instead the students should be frequently playing and engaged in their music versus spending more time outside of the music. And all four of these C's, the consistency, the content, the communication, and the commendation all make for a great classroom and should be goals that are focused on in a classroom.